Hi, this is Bridget with Life on Spectrum, and today I'm going to talk to you about invitations to your IEP meeting. Now, please remember, if I just say IEP, it could also be for the Individualized Family Educational Plan when they're younger. So just keep that in mind, but for the purposes of today, I'm just going to say IEP. Now, an invitation for an IEP needs to go out 10 to 14 days before the scheduled IEP meeting. Now, the IEP meeting is when a bunch of people get together and converse about the previous year's IEP for your student, and they actually update it and change it for the next year. Now, I just want to concentrate on the invite today for this episode, and this is why. You need to make sure that they're inviting you 10 to 14 days before the date. And the date has to be at least the day before the date of the last IEP. Now, I'll say that again. Let's just say last year you met on October 20th. This following year, it has to be done on October 19th or before. That way you're in compliance. It's very important to understand the dates of your IEP. It is very important and very key because, believe it or not, if it's after the date of the last year's IEP, your son and daughter may not receive services until they have an updated IEP. So keep that in mind. It has to be at least one day before, and it should be given to you at least 10 to 14 days beforehand. The other important thing, it is a federal law that your case manager or special education teacher has to attempt to contact you at least 3 times before scheduling the IEP meeting. This is so that you can have an input of what the best time of day is for you, or even the day of week. Now, there are some parents that work, and I understand that, but please understand that having the amount of people at these meetings is very difficult. So they do try to work with your schedule, but please keep in mind of the teacher's schedules and also the service provider schedules. So they have to contact you at least 3 times. The first 2 times can either be phone or email or fax, or somehow, whatever you specify is the best way of getting a hold of you. After those 2 times, the 3rd time, they could actually send an invitation home to you, and they get to choose the date and time of the meeting. Now, I just want to stress that. Remember, they only have to contact you 3 times. Now, if you need to change that date or time, that is your right, and you can contact the school. But please don't go and say, well, you never told me, you never called me, because they should be documenting those 3 times that they contacted you. If not, then it is your right to argue with the school district and your right to actually go through process of, saying that they were incomplete in their process of special education. The invite also, I need to stress to you that there needs to be certain people there. The parent needs to be invited. The student needs to be invited after the age of 14. After the age of 14. Now, if you want them there at age 7, by all means they can. If they have a TSS, a BSc, or a paraeducator, or a PCA, they should be invited. They should also have the LEA, which is basically an administrator for the building. That could be a special ed consultant, the special ed supervisor, the principal, or an assistant principal, depending. I would also suggest that it does not have to, but you should invite the guidance counselor or the school nurse, depending if they have health needs or also counseling/guidance needs. They also need a special education teacher there, usually the case manager, and then also 1 general education teacher. Now, general education teacher can be an art teacher, or it could be a PE teacher. If your student is not mainstream for many classes, they still need to invite 1 general education teacher to the IEP, and that's because of LRE, the least restrictive environment. So keep that in mind when you're looking at the invitation. I also want to stress to parents that you are welcome to invite anyone you want to the meeting. If you think they're having difficulty with a teacher, you can request that teacher to be there. You can also request to have an advocate there, and you can invite your own advocate to come to the meeting with you. If you have a doctor or somebody that you're close to, or a nurse that may be in your psychiatrist unit, or whatever the case may be, you can invite anyone you would like to these meetings so you can get more information about your son or daughter. So keep that in mind for your invitation, and make sure you sign the invitation that you received it, either the day of the meeting or when they mail it to you, you can send it back in. So hopefully that helps with the invitation to an IEP meeting. And this is Bridget with Life on Spectrum. Thanks for watching that episode. And make sure you come back and join us again for upcoming videos. They'll be uploaded almost on a daily basis. Also, if you really enjoyed us, like us below, or even leave a comment for us to respond back to. And if for all of you that are really involved in the Life on Spectrum, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel. We appreciate you. We hope that this is worthwhile for you, and we'll see you next time on Life on Spectrum.